So after that fight when I lost, and I'm looking at all these people and they're all celebrating my demise and saying I'm done and this, and it certainly lit a fire under my belly. Every single person doubted me. Every single fighter doubted me. Doubt me now.
Doubt me now indeed, McGregor. Doubt me now indeed. I think it's safe to say that all of the true believers out there, and you know who you are rejoicing and celebrating that the prophecy has finally come to fruition. The goddess has returned. For everyone that doubted, for everyone that didn't have faith, for everyone that looked down on me and told me I was wrong, I truly pity you. I really do. I've even seen some still deny what's right in front of their eyes, telling me that Naomi and the rest of the children we see in here are dead. And I'm gonna have to tell you guys a little something about cryosleep. If these children were dead, Dr. Franxx would not be sending Nana and Hachi to this room full of children saying, become their new adults. That just wouldn't happen. That doesn't make any sense. They are alive. Nana and Hachi have been chosen to lead these children into the future, and I cannot wait to see Naomi in the final episode helping rebuild society and expand their fields of harvest. Hello everybody, I am PhenomSage, and welcome back to another Darling in the Franxx episode review. Today we are going to be talking about episode 22, Stargazers. And even disregarding how overjoyed I am to finally see Naomi's return, all I have to say about this episode is that this is how you set up a finale. All the pieces are set in play, and we now have some really satisfying build-up to what will be the final battle against Virm. This episode actually reminds me a lot of episode 5 in that it's a very character and dialogue focused episode with lots of drama to set up the following episode's battle. And with episode 5 being one of my personal favorites in the series, I am completely okay with it. I think right now is the closest I'll ever get to saying that the Virm plot twist has been somewhat salvaged. It'll still leave a heavy mark on the show for me when all is said and done, but goddamn if I'm not really enjoying these characters and their personal drama right now. And on that note, I think where I want to zone in on first is the fantastic confrontation between Goro and Hiro near the end of the episode. There's been some debate amongst who is the best boy with all of the character focuses that we've gotten throughout the series. Zorome, Mitsuru, and Goro all being in the running at one point or another. But I think after this episode, Goro has just solidified his position of best boy and best bro. It's during this conversation where, again, like in episode 5, we have Goro trying to get Hiro to understand things from his perspective and stop being so selfish. 02 is now a vegetable, and Hiro is willing to throw his life on the line to save her, despite what everyone else thinks. And the way I described it there must sound pretty heroic. Hiro is willing to do this because he loves 02 with all of his heart. But I was very surprised and pleased with how much darker and self-centered the writing portrayed Hiro and his ambition here. The way he talks and behaves make it seem like it is a mistake to go after her, and it helps us understand the rest of the squad's perspective even more so. I think the final nail was when Hiro straight up tells Goro that if 02 won't smile for him, he might as well be dead, lending credence to everything Goro told Hiro about how he's trampling on the feelings of others who have put their all into supporting Hiro and making sure he's okay. Again, there's a brilliant shot of Ichigo during this conversation that drives it all home and makes you think that Hiro's love for 02 is almost unhealthy in the way that he's willing to disregard everyone else's feelings just for her. I love Goro in this scene because it's not often that we see him break and lose his calm and collected composure that he usually has. But when we do see that and he spills his heart out, it makes him even more sympathetic. Ultimately, this scene and the episode as a whole culminates in the final moment, where Hiro prepares to embark on what could be his final journey to rescue Zero 2. And it's in this scene where we see everyone joined up, and besides the married pregnant couple, everyone is prepared to join Hiro to protect the planet once and for all. It does make you wonder what the point of protesting and going against Hiro was to begin with, if they had plans to battle Virm anyways, but it's whatever. Maybe Hiro opened their eyes to a new possibility, I don't know. Either way, this scene is interesting for a multitude of reasons, but the first thing I want to focus on is Mitsuru. He's not in his suit because he straight up can't pilot due to Kokoro's pregnancy, so right before the episode ends, he approaches Hiro and looks like he's about to say something. I wonder what this implies and how it will affect the following episode, since I doubt we'll be picking up the next episode exactly right here where we leave off, and I assume there is a reason for why Mitsuru approaches Hiro but we don't actually see him say anything. Anyways, Kokoro and Mitsuru not leaving basically confirms their safety and further concludes that the series will end with Kokoro of course choosing to keep her baby and raising him in this new world that they will be creating. However, with their safety guaranteed, it also raises plenty of death flags and foreshadowing for the rest of our group who chose to go. At the very least, it seems incredibly likely that Hiro will not make it out of this, potentially even choosing to die with Zero 2 instead if worse comes to worse. We also have the rest of our squad going up to fight, which doesn't bode well. After his entire speech here, I am legitimately terrified for Goro. I do not want to see him get killed. We could speculate all day about who will and won't die, but one thing for sure is that our unlikely allies will not make it to the end. The Nines appear in this final moment as well and tell the squad that they were made for war and battle, so they want in on this fight to protect the planet and find a better resting place than lying in bed. A lot of things went through my mind as I saw this, because on one hand, I'm really glad that what I read last week about the Nines potentially going through a sort of redemption arc came to fruition, and they will be joining for the final battle. However, this is almost too good to be true, because we didn't get much in regards to an actual redemption for these characters, so I could very well also see the Nines end up betraying us during the fight, and worst case scenario resulting in the death of some of our squad. Let's hope that's not the case and that they are true to their word. If they are true, they'll likely end up dying in a heroic sacrifice kind of way, maybe saving one of our squad or buying us some time when we need it. Despite the grand scale of the war that we're about to wage, what I really enjoyed about this episode was how much of bystanders our group felt like in relation to this gigantic battle. Throughout the episode, we're just doing our best to harvest and grow food. And while it's all going on, we continuously see Klaxosaurs flying into space, joining a fight so large in scope that our squad probably can't even comprehend it. It really sets into perspective what's going on, and I hope that in the following episodes, even after we join the fight and do our best to combat Virm, that sense of scale is still felt and we truly get a sense of our squad being in over their heads. That would go a long way for communicating the stakes and weight of this final battle. I was hoping for a little bit more in regards to the Goro Ichigo ship that they kept hinting throughout the episode, but I'm hoping that all of that was planted there intentionally, as well as the numerous situations and scenes throughout the series, because they plan to justify the ship in one way or another during these final 2 episodes. Again, I don't want to speak too soon, but Goro sacrificing himself to save Ichigo would not be at all surprising in a worst case scenario. There are some loose ends that still need to be tied though. For one, if we're going into space and all the way to Mars, I have no idea how this giant Klaxosaur hand will factor into the finale. But I can't see that being there for no reason either, so that's going to be fun to see how it what plays into all of this. Other than the loose ends though, I enjoyed how some plot elements came back in a meaningful way. We've already talked about the goddess Naomi returning. I don't expect her to really have any role in the story moving forward, but as I said before, I am so looking forward to her and the other children reawakening, and maybe one of the final scenes of the series is seeing them all working to expand the fertile soil and harvest food. We also have the Klaxosaur princess's final sacrifice come back into play, letting Hachi access the Klaxosaur ship to give our group the ability to go into space to begin with. On top of that, I really enjoy how Nana and Hachi have both factored into this. They were bred to deceive the children and follow Papa's orders no matter what, but now they've gained morality and a more aware conscience, and now are being tasked with leading these children into the future and caring for them. And finally, I love how the promise Hiro made to Zero Two, and her mind and soul now being bonded to the Strelitzia, is now impacting Hiro's final goal and the final arc of the series. Again, like I said, this is how you set up a final act. There were numerous issues reaching this stage, but at this point, I'm just happy to say that I'm excited to see how they end this story. I think this episode all but confirms that there will be no season 2. This is it for this story, and at this point, all we can do is stay on this ride to the very end. But that has been all from me for this Darling in the Franxx episode review. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm looking forward to hearing what you thought of this episode in the comments below. And if you enjoyed hearing what I thought of this episode, I would really appreciate it if you liked the video. Make sure to subscribe to keep up with my Darling reviews and other content in the future. And of course, as usual, have a great day.